I believe it was 1998, and there was a massive cyclone in the Arabian Sea, and I think it was Badin and Tata districts. They were totally devastated. And the Prime Minister told me to accompany him in the helicopter. Here I am, I'm just watching from the helicopter window, and absolutely, totally covered with water. Everything, you could just see water everywhere. And you could see some patches here and there, little islands where people would be kind of clogged together with each other. The cyclone effect is. And then the Prime Minister decides to land on to one of these little islands. So the helicopter comes down. This impression has been imprinted on my mind. I still remember that I came out of the helicopter and the first step onto the ladder, and I see hundreds of people in front of me, barely clothed. And men, women, children, and they were standing like this. This was the first interaction that I had with Pakistan. All this time, all through my journey in London, in the West, in my university, in the government, in my business, I had not met a Pakistani. That was the day that I realized what is Pakistan and what the challenge was. So I again started focusing on rebuilding the team, bringing in more people, smart people, continuing to research, update the data, update the solutions. Technology had changed, more solutions had come in, the world had actually changed. And while I was continuing to solidify all of this, there came an opportunity. And that was in 2010, when unprecedented floods ravaged through bulk of this country, devastated hundreds of millions of people. And I would just turn on the TV and watch helplessly. Being in the government, I knew that the system would not deliver. And being in the government, it kind of made me feel even more responsible. In that situation, the only voice that would come from inside me was that, what have you done?
I got a phone call from Harun Khwaja, and he said a statement which still sticks with me till today. And I think it's a statement that really drove a lot of what has come out of what Pagpur has done. And the statement was that half of our countrymen are underwater right now, and we're on the other half. And what is our responsibility?
And I gathered a complete team that I was working with. Almost all of them were from private sector. I told them that I think we should go, have a look, and I think we should try to implement some of the solutions that we have been working on all these years.
The challenge was that everybody was going out and thinking about immediate relief. And the people that were coming together in Pagpur were saying, let's think about a more permanent solution. And let's not just think about, there's plenty of people that are distributing flour, plenty of people that are distributing immediate relief goods. Let's think about rehabilitation in the long run. And so from there spawned the idea of creating a model village.
A new planned village. The kind of village that we would like to see in Pakistan, where the roads are straight and roads which are brick paved, where there is proper underground sanitation, where there are parks, where there are children playing, where there is a school, where there is a technical institute, where there are solutions for electricity, gas, where there is no problem of community living in harmony, where there is no problem of law and order, where there is a certain system through which that community is being managed. In 3 months, it took us 3 months, and 25% of the homes were ready, and we just handed over the 25% of homes. It was a 100 home village, and about 25 homes were handed over in 3 months.
फाउंडेशन ने हमारे और हमारे बच्चों के इलाज मुआवजे के लिए बेहतरीन डिस्पेंसरी का इंतजाम किया, बच्चों की बेहतरीन तालीम और तरबियत के लिए स्कूल बनवाए, हमारी जवान बच्चियों के लिए वोकेशनल स्कूल का क्याम अमल में लाया गया, हमारे रोजगार के लिए कट्टा फार्म बनाया गया और साथ ही कारोबार करने के लिए बेहतरीन खूबसूरत और साफ सुथरी दुकानें हमें दी गई, जहां पर फोटोनोश और जरूरियात जिंदगी की तमाम चीजें हमें मुयस्सर हैं। हमें पुख्ता साफ सुथरे हवादार जो घर मिले हैं, उनके सामने खुली गलियां बनाए, सोलन ग्रासी प्लाट्स और बच्चों के खेलने के लिए झूले वगैरह का इंतजाम भी किया गया। साफ पानी की बेहद दुश्वारी है और दूर दराज तक पीने के लिए मीठा और साफ पानी नहीं मिलता, लेकिन पाकपुर फाउंडेशन ने हमारी मिसाली बस्ती में लाखों रुपए खर्च करके साफ पानी का प्लांट लगा दिया।
When it comes to affordable housing, the basic principles that the world is focusing on is alternative materials and green building and the likes on one side, and the other focuses on financing mechanisms. Let's do microfinancing with the poor, and let's come up with micro mortgages and some sort of guarantee structures and so forth on the finance side. So these were the two areas that everybody was focusing on, and I realized that everybody's forgetting about the customer.
Instead of sympathizing with our people, you empathize with them. Feel their pain. Put yourselves in their position. Ask yourselves what would happen if your own children were involved. And then you will be able to design the policies and design the solutions that will benefit Pakistan.
There's more to it than brick and mortar, and we needed to learn more. We sat down with these people. We asked them what their needs were. Little did I know that it was not the end of the journey. It was actually the beginning of a new journey. We came across this guy. His name was Mohammed Bashir, and Mohammed Bashir was a typical ordinary Pakistani who has no voice. Nobody talks about him. Nobody cares about him. Nobody thinks about him. And he's just living.
When you're so zoomed out, you're living in Islamabad and making policy there, and then when you go to this village and you meet Mohammed Bashir, it touches you. That's when you start thinking that this new social contract that we always talk about is all about Mohammed Bashir.
Imagine a society that is replicated by these villages. We know that 60% or so of our society in Pakistan is rural based. Imagine if we're able to replicate the Pakpur model, not in just one village, but first in 10 villages in a local cluster, and then 100 villages, then 1,000 villages, and start marking the impact that we're having. The impact would be on security, reduced crime, reduced domestic issues, reduced burden on courts because you have dispute resolution over there, reduced burden on the infrastructure because the community is managing their infrastructure in advance. The people who are in the halls of power have not taken the time to understand what Pakpur has taken the time to understand, which is the power of Mohammed Bashir.
We were able to build efficient models and show to society, to government, to the NGOs and to the international aid agencies that we can develop efficient models of development, efficient models of service delivery.
I mean, you got a problem, here's the solution. What's stopping you to implement this solution?
Pakistan is a former colony, and the colonialists do two things. They establish power over people who are less powerful, and they extract more than what they offer in return.
Honestly speaking, we have got some very good infrastructure system in public sector in place, but it is not working properly. The issues are somewhere else.
The government is not supposed to rule. It is supposed to serve. You cannot have a system which is geared towards ruling to serve the people.
I have seen it all happen. Prosperity first, when it gets ignored, because when a donor or an occupying force, for instance in Iraq and in Afghanistan, in Syria as we see it now, in Yemen and other places, that the tendency of the donor is to follow the traditional route again, to secure, to reach a political settlement, hold elections, cut and run. And it hasn't worked. We can see these states are collapsing right and left. You have Libya, you have Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen. You can name several countries where this thing has not worked. So prosperity first is probably the way to go. And in order to do that, you need a lot of creative people who can generate these solutions and models where the prosperity happens rather quickly. Once you meet Mohammad Bashir out there, then your agenda becomes much more simple. Then we talk about the community Mohammad Bashir lives in. Then we go on to the local level, we go on to the tehsil level, district level, provincial level, and then on to the federal level. And we have tried to connect it all so that Mohammad Bashir is directly hooked to Islamabad. And Islamabad knows what happens with their policies, how is Mohammad Bashir affected by those policies. It originally started by looking at the number of government departments. We created those clusters where there is no redundancy, where there is no overlap, where there are synergies that are created. And we were able to put those government departments into 15 ministries where these synergies could be created. Our agenda then becomes education, health and social safety, and we are talking about sustainable economic growth, employability, and then we're talking about energy and resources and good governance that ensures security and justice for everybody. And this is what Pakistan Project is all about. When you look at the upper end of the Pakistan Project, you see that we are talking about restructuring the entire federal government, and we are thinking about creating parallel provincial governments so that the governments can talk to each other. In any state, there are several layers of government. We want all layers of the government to be able to talk to each other till they solve the problems of an ordinary Pakistani. That's Mohammad Bashir.
We are trying to solve some of the basic problems of the people, like healthcare. And instead of saying build large, expensive complexes in existing large cities, we are saying that the real problem exists in rural Pakistan, in the small 500,000 population towns of Pakistan. And we have to take the solution there.
We came up with the idea of a mobile health unit. Reach उसकी हो, coverage हो, access हो, efficiency हो, effectiveness हो. This is one example for many of these issues. Mobile health unit have been developed as a fraction of the cost of what has been done in many other similar, I think, initiatives and projects. Or how to actually run it. Our focus was not just on the vehicle, a truck. Fine, the design is like by the professionals, professional doctors and engineers, a combination, but more emphasis on how the service is delivered, how it reaches the common person, how Muhammad Bashir and family benefit from that. That is the whole story. It is not just a vehicle, I call it a vehicle for change.
We have definitive timelines, definitive actions, what needs to be done, how long will it take, and with definitive outcomes. What will be the result? As a consequence, the Pakistan project represents a complete solution for Pakistan, and we are very confident in saying that this country can be put back onto the right track in 36 months.
Still have a vision of what we can do and what we should be doing, and part of that is driven by the hope that I see in the people who have come together in Pakpur, and the vision that they hold and the commitment that they hold, that there are people in this country who are coming together and who do want to look beyond the material gains of what they may be achieving and look to a greater responsibility that they have to this country and to humanity in general.
Whatever we've been doing, at the end of the day, the person who really taught us how to do it was Muhammad Bashir. And that's why today we call Muhammad Bashir the teacher. The seeds for this nation to become one of the greatest nations on this planet are there. You just need to make a few changes. It is the system which is dysfunctional.